Barry, at some point you said your goal in the offseason this year was to improve your defense. And yet two of your big signings were forwards, which doesn't really line up with what we thought you might do. Did you change your mind? What happened?
Um, no, I think we had Alex Carrier as a UFA. We didn't know if
Right.
he was going to be back, and then obviously with the movement of Ryan McDonough, who was we had a discussion at the end of the year, and Ryan um, said he had the most fun other than winning the cup with our team. And then 4 days later, we had a little, he called me and said, I got to do this for my family to see if you can get me back to Tampa. And I didn't think that was possible with obviously with Steven Stamkos' situation and that, but I called Julian. Julian said he was going to make it work. And so we made the deal. And then I had that big hole to fill.
Right.
That was that was priority number one, is that there was a big hole set by Ryan McDonough. I talked to our leadership group and I said, I created the hole. So I'm getting my first priority is to fill that hole. And we filled it with Brady Shea. Um, and then the second thing I want to do is add to the offense. That was, what we wanted to do. And, I was hoping to get, one top six player, and I was very fortunate I was able to get two.
Yep.
And then obviously resigning Carrier was a big
Yeah.
thing for our D.
How quickly did the Stamkos deal come together when you realized that Julian wasn't going to re-sign him?
I thought all along that Stammer was going back to Tampa. The first indication that I had that there might not be something in Tampa is actually I was walking in with Julian to the awards actually, and just said, I see you got Ryan's there, and I said, you're going to get Stammer done. He said, I'm going to know in the next 24 hours if that's going to happen. So that was really the first indication that I didn't think maybe Stammer was coming back, but had no indication until really the day before that he wasn't going to be available.
So when you did your plan, when you sit down with your pro scouts and your management team, were Jonathan Marchessault and Steven Stamkos on your want list? Honestly?
Yeah, well, Stammer, we had him. Our pro scouts did a really good job. We didn't know the situation, so we had put him on our list. We're thinking that he's probably going to resign, but we have to do our due diligence and put him in order of priority if they do come available. So he was on our list, but it was probably a low probability type of thing. We just ranked them on to say their abilities and what they would bring to a hockey club. Our pro scouts did a really good job, but really a lot of the credit goes to our whole management team. We stayed on the phones with the agents. We started to figure out who might be going where. I think our pool of players, I think we had, four defensemen in mind and looking to get two of them. And I think we accomplished that. And then we had probably, I would say, five, possibly six forwards, hoping to get maybe two. But we wanted one for sure. But both those guys were ranked pretty high on our list, and the probability of getting what we wanted was probably pretty low. But sometimes you need a little bit of diligence and a little bit of luck, and I think we had a little bit of both.
Stamkos was a guy who was, we think, emotionally tied to Tampa.
Yes, yeah.
He really wanted to stay there, it seemed. He had rejected a good offer from the Maple Leafs years ago, and it seemed like that's where he wanted to play. Did that bother you? Did that concern you?
No, no. I think, I was in Nashville for a long time, and I can't relate as a player, but I can relate as a coach that when you become invested in a community or a team for as long as Steven has, and my tenure in Nashville was 15 years, you get really emotionally tied to those organizations, and
Sure, you do. Yep.
that's your home. And when I talked to Steven, about the possibility. I sort of related that. I said, one of the best things that ever happened to me is you never want to leave your home, but having the opportunity to have a new experience actually is quite invigorating in some ways, because you want to show the rest of the, your former team, you want to show the rest of the world that, hey, I'm a good player, and no matter where I go, I can be very effective. I tried to do that as a coach, and I said it actually uh, invigorated you a little bit. It gave you a new experience, a life experience that I think tries to keep you young all the time, and it's a challenge. So I looked at it as a couple things with both Stephen and Marchie, is that both those players spent a lot of time in their organizations. And Stephen said it best, you want to be loved by, your organization, but they weren't loving them back.
Right.
And,
True.
so I said, you come here, you got a new opportunity, and also, you got a new partner that wants to love you. And that's a great feeling to have as a player or an employee, or, just in life in general. And, you know, I love the fact that both those guys will probably, because they're so competitive, have a little chip on their shoulder.
Mhm.
They're productive players. I still think that they're got lots of game left in them. They can bring that serial winner attitude. They both won cups. Marchessault's won, the MVP in the playoffs, just like O'Reilly has. You can't have enough of those guys, and we're fortunate that we were able to do that because of the fact that our scouts have done a really good job of drafting. Our development department has developed players, and we've bought a little bit of time. So ideally, right now our roster, we're probably a little top heavy on the older players, that established players, good players. And in a year or two, they're going to start to age a little bit. Our young guys are going to mature a little bit, and hopefully you'll see a combination of, I'll say the four line mentality. Hopefully a couple of veterans with a young guy, and those young guys will hopefully continue to develop surrounded by some really quality people and really quality players.